Happy Monday, Striver. I hope you entered this week optimistic, rested from the weekend, strong, and very enthusiastic about what lays before you this week. Even if it's some challenging projects, even if you're gonna have to deal with some people, even if you feel like sometimes you're not exactly sure how everything's gonna turn out, that you enter the week ready to be your best, to give your best, to summon the strength to survive and to persist and to keep going even when you're unsure, uncertain, or not feeling well. But listen, I can say all that, and I know it can sound like some motivational hype because we all have different seasons of our life where it can be really difficult to stay on our A game, to do our best even. Sometimes we're managing difficult seasons of life. And so I thought I'd talk about that today. Just this weekend, I spoke with several friends who had family members in the hospital who were dealing with a lot of the political turmoil from around the world, who, continue to deal with struggles in their business or their finances, their career, their health, their mission. And sometimes, people are dealing with difficult projects, difficult tasks, difficult situations. And other times people are dealing with difficult seasons of life. That season of life where maybe, you're ending a relationship or getting a divorce, or that season of life where you've had a bad medical report and you've just been feeling awful for weeks or months or years on end, or that season of life where the kids are leaving, or that season of life where you're in transition, starting something new, and you're just scared. We all have different seasons of life, and that can be mental, emotional, physical, social, spiritual. And so what do we do during those times? I know usually on Monday I talk about, productivity and setting your Friday finishers, which is your to-do list for Fridays. But I thought today we just jump in. If you're struggling at this season of your life right now, some simple ideas. First idea, give yourself some grace. Matter of fact, I'd encourage you to just actually write it down on a piece of paper right now. I'm going to give myself grace during this difficult time. Actually write it down on a piece of paper if you're struggling. I'm going to give myself some grace during this difficult time. What I mean by that is you're going to allow yourself to feel the difficulties, to be slowed down by the difficulties, to take a rest through the difficulties. You're going to allow yourself to be uncertain, even though you're used to being the hard, charging striver. You're going to allow and trust and have faith and hope that things will get better. But during this day, it's okay you don't feel better. That's grace. You can have hope that things will change, but also grace to face the truth and the reality of the difficulty and the emotions that you feel today. It's truly okay. We're not all superhuman. We're not all high-performing 24/7. There's seasons of our life when we lose somebody, when our life has been upended, when someone cheats or takes, when we don't feel well, that we have to take a few deep breaths and allow ourselves not to be perfect. And I don't mean just now in the moment. When I'm talking about a difficult season in life, it's okay to say, you know what? The next 2 months, I'm not going to go as strong or as hard as I usually go. Or I'm okay not being fully aware of what my exact life purpose is at this exact second. And I'm okay if I don't know it next week or next month too. I'll keep an eye. I'll keep thinking. I'll keep doing the work. But I'm okay not having it all figured out right now. And I'm going to turn that preparedness to allow myself into some faith. I'm going to go easy on myself. I'm not going to have negative self-talk. I'm not going to beat myself up over and over and over again for not having figured it out or perfected it or feeling perfect. just yet. I'm just not going to get down on myself and be my own worst enemy right now when it's already hard. Because isn't that what a lot of people do? You know, you've had success, you work hard, you're a learner, you care about health and wellness, you care about personal development, clearly you're here. And I have to tell you, sometimes people like you and me who really care about personal development, who we've spent a lot of time making self-improvement a way of life, sometimes when we're not improving or giving our best or being a role model, we get hard on ourselves. And we're the very ones who need to give ourselves empathy and compassion and leadership when we're struggling. To truly give that gift to ourselves that, you know, you work so hard to take care of everybody else, but in your difficult season of life, sometimes you won't even raise your hand, ask for help on your own. But grace is saying, I can allow this. Grace is saying, I won't be hard on myself or unfair to myself because that's not going to help me be better later. You don't kick yourself while you're down when you understand that you got to give yourself some grace. Realize that you're a child of God. If you don't believe in God, that's okay. Realize that you're an remarkably improbable spark of human activity. And that in the improbability of it all, or the blessings of it all, here you are in a world that is way bigger than you, full of tons of chaos, in a universe that isn't always friendly. And if you don't believe that, well, study some physics. Not everything has a beautiful opposite and equal reaction. The truth is, sometimes it's hard. And as soon as you can honor that as truth, you can give yourself some grace. Second idea, when you're managing a difficult season of life, please prioritize stress management. What happens when people who are in personal development enter a difficult season of life, they tend to make it even harder on themselves by burning out. Well, I guess I'll just double down and work twice as hard. And sometimes, hey, listen, that's required. Your business is in a difficult situation. You've got to figure out the finances. Sometimes, you got to move out of the house. Sometimes crazy stuff happens. You got to learn to breathe. You got to make sure you take time to meditate. You got to make sure you're getting sleep handled. You got to make sure that you are not burning yourself out and you aren't making yourself even more anxious during uncertain times. Stress management, breathing, sleeping, speaking well of yourself, making sure that you're exercising to release some of that stress, making sure that your diet isn't terrible when it gets even more difficult. Because feeling worse and stressing your body with even more toxins is usually not going to help you have the energy to pull through. Stress management, wellness, the things that we talk about in high performance work here in Growth Day. There's entire classes that you can take on how to deal with stress. If you're a pro member, just go to the Learn section, go to live events and watch past events, and you can sort by stress. Or anybody, you can click into the Learn section, go to the courses, and you'll see tons of classes and courses on, living a beautiful life, or finding a beautiful state, or meditation, or finding, better sleep. It's all there for you. But make sure you prioritize it, especially in a difficult season of life. Third, social support. You got to reach out more, which takes vulnerability and courage. Often, especially if you've been the leader or the role model or the influencer in your family, your friends, or your team, your business, if you've been the strong one, it's hard to raise your hand and ask for some help, to even admit that you need help. But no persons have ever gotten ahead faster by themselves over a long period of time. We all need team. We all need social support. Whether that's your family, your friends, or that's that one person you can trust, or it's your team. It's leaning on somebody during this time. Asking a parent, asking a caregiver, asking a friend, asking a neighbor, asking a teammate for some assistance, where that just means for them to cover your shift, give you some time off, help you with the kid, ask for some advice. If you don't raise your hand, don't think you can raise yourself up as fast. It does truly take social support over a season of life. Yeah, we can all weather a day or two. We can all deal with weeks or months of tough times. And a lot of people, they go into isolationism during that time. They just hunker down, they say, and I'm focused on my stuff. But the reality is they're usually boxing themselves into loneliness. And when you feel lonely, you don't tend to lift yourself as high. You need that connection to bring you back sometimes. So reach out, ask for some help, get some support. Last idea, keep the long view of hope alive. You know, most of us have been in those situations where it was difficult with our health at some point. And when you feel awful, as an example, it's just so hard to keep vision, to even believe that tomorrow or the future or the next chapters can be good. But when you keep the long view of hope alive, things really shift. I know, trust me. Oh yeah, Brendan, you can say that. Hey, listen, I've laid in my deathbed twice. I've known what it was like to feel the uncertainty of the next hours and breaths. And to still use your mind to summon an optimism or connection to a better future state or a better future being or a better future living situation or a better future relationship, that's important. To keep that future there, even if it looks murky or muddy or so far away. Because it's really easy to get down in the dumps, to get down in the pit of despair and forget to look up to the sunlight above that pit. I get it, but it's something we have to do. It's not easy, but it's required if we're going to pull ourselves up. Keeping that hope. We know from some of the most extreme situations in the world how important that is. If you haven't recently read Man's Search for Meaning from Viktor Frankl, read it again. I think it's important this time in the world, but I think it's also a nice reminder of his suggestion that the last of humans' freedoms is the ability to choose one's own attitude. And while that might sound like hype fest, self-help, the reality is Viktor Frankl was facing one of the most ominous threats in human history in World War II. And so if you'll read that book or keep that long view, keep that hope, shape your attitude, use the journal right here in Growth Day, go to that morning mindset and just keep prompting your brain to focus forward. Keep prompting your brain to give yourself some grace. Keep prompting your brain about things you can be excited or appreciative about. There will be plenty of days. There might be 9 out of 10 days you're like, this is a bunch of garbage, this Growth Day stuff. But if 1 out of those 10 days, we spark a little bit something in you, make you feel a little bit better, remind you of something of yourself, of possibility, of your opportunities, your blessings, of what could be your future, then we did a good job and reminded you that even in these most difficult times, ultimately, every day still has a chance. Every day you might get a little better. Every day a new opportunity might be there. It might be 3 days out, 5 days out, 10 months out, but every day still can become a great day to grow.